Welcome back to Block TV. This is Trader's Take, where we take a deep dive into the technical charts together with our ever so lovely technical analyst, the man with the plan, the fortune teller, and sometimes the fortune maker, Joe Saz. Joe, thanks for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure, Yona. How's it going?
Joe, I'm doing pretty all right. It's a beautiful day here. How's it going in the crypto markets?
It's looking pretty interesting. I mean, I think these bulls are really starting to try to grab just trying to grab hold of this market. And so if we could take a quick look here at the Bitcoin US dollar 15-minute chart, and we'll see that looks, again, what we were just talking about the other day is that bulls are reaching for the sky. And enough of these and it's going to pop. So I'm pretty happy about that. We have tons and tons and tons of pumps. Obviously, let's take a look at this reversal and let's see if we can dissect this a little bit. Since this happened so recently, normally I don't go back, let's see, too far, but to dissect things like this. But here it is. Oh wow, look at all that sell volume. Let's see what that candle looks like. That's definitely a lot of sellers right there. Yeah, that's a pretty red candle and a full body. So my natural inclination is to assume that this is probably a cluster of sellers or one big seller. There's very little resistance, very little wick space. So I'm not going to assume that this was buyers trying, that this wick space is all of the volume. I'm going to assume that this body is the majority of the volume. So it's interesting. We had a lot of sellers cap us out at right around 7,500. This is good though. We keep throwing our hands in the air here, and I think we're going to catch a rope. So I'm pretty optimistic still. My $8,200 price target is still on the table. We have our vertical high is definitely higher than the last, and I'm hoping that we can maintain this trend. I mean, right now this kind of looks like a nice rounded bottom. So hopefully we can keep that momentum and push up to my $8,200 target, where at that point maybe I will be the fortune maker.
Mm-hmm. I think that I've stopped saying when moon and I've started saying when 8,200, because you've been stuck on the 8,200 for a long time. You've been harping it. When are we finally going to see the promised 8,200?
The promise. It's interesting here. There wasn't. Let's see. We're halfway through the week. We didn't really get a Christmas pump or dump. It's been mostly hesitant bullish. So I could see this playing out over the next 2-3 weeks. Assuming nothing else changes right now. The fact that we're, fighting in the low 7,300s. I went to bed last night at 73, 74 and woke up at 73. Like that's kind of normal. That's pretty stable price action. I mean, we can even take a look at the daily and just see what the candle, I mean, wow, this really looks like an accumulation phase. I gotta say. This reminds me a lot of what April 2nd to December or November 14th looked like. Small moves, 1% less moves intraday, couple pops, couple drops. But for the most part, these are small daily moves, and this really is starting to feel like accumulation to me. So I don't know, Yona. I hope I'm right. I feel the 8,200 coming right along. All right, I'm going to do something here. Let's see. I'm going to draw a little bit of a bullish scenario. We kind of have an ascending formation here, a number of points of contact. I'm really hoping that this thing closes out pretty soon, because this right here, where the line ends, is my price target, and that's going to be an interesting area, because that's our pretty much overhead resistance trend line drawn from our 14K or near it high. Now this, in my eyes, is very similar to what we had over here, the descending triangle, Bitcoin's infamous descending triangle. And this is, isn't even drawn correctly, but basically we had a very long standing descending line that we broke down violently, we consolidated, and then when we broke through it, we just broke the heck through it, and we said, bye, Felicia. So this is kind of what and keep in mind, I'm not saying this was all organic, but once we did break a long-standing descending trend, we did pop to the upside, and we did so rapidly, and we did so violently. So I'm expecting something, let's get over here. Let's try to, the thing that scares me is January can be a bad month for Bitcoin. I remember back in 2017, no, 2018, I was did some, look back at a few Januaries, couldn't really figure out what the pattern there was, if there was one. So I mean, for now, let's just say that January, could be a bad month for Bitcoin, and if it's going to be, then I'm expecting that $4,500 price target over 82. But if we can keep this bullish momentum, and bulls are still around, they're fighting, and I've been watching them in the order books. And speaking of that, let's just take a quick look at what order book liquidity looks like. This is taking a second to load. As you can see, I haven't refreshed this page since 7400. But anyways, I can't really get any data until this thing refreshes. But take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and yeah, same thing. All right. Basically, what I want to see, here we go. 126 sell wall. We have some stacked aggregations here, $10 aggregations right now, with 50 packs up here, 60, 120, 60. And we have a very robust buy side too. I mean, buyers are chasing the book. Our depth chart posture is slightly bullish in my eyes. And we have a triple digit buy wall at 72.10. We have a lot of support in this area. And this is support that's been able to grow. You can see that this support has had time to build because, I mean, everything above 77,000, let's say, is going to be a little bit dynamic. But the fact that we've been consolidating and buyers have been stacking the book with their orders for the past day or so, that usually means that they're pretty serious about buying. So I'm going to be, relax and rest on this order book right here, the support that we have in it. And this is just going to be a little bit of a war. At some point, we're going to see one win. We're either going to see bulls pull liquidity, bears pull liquidity, which simply means this 80 pack, maybe there's one buyer right here that wants to pull that entire 80 pack. He's no longer certain that this is a good buy, he or she. That's pulling liquidity. So what we're going to get is either one side, bulls or bears are either going to pull liquidity and let the others buy or sell into that low liquidity, causing what I call a low liquidity sweep. Which is a low volume move in price, low volume move, but a big price move since there's no liquidity in the book. So I'm looking at this and it's like this is a really tight gap. I've never, you don't really see bulls and bears stick it out this long with the 100 pack leading the book on the bull side, a 58 pack in front of a 100 pack on the sell side. Usually it doesn't stay like this for too long. Usually you start seeing 50 packs, 25 packs, big buys and big sells, and that's what determines the momentum. So right now it's just a really tight gap. This is kind of make it or break it territory.
Now the only packs I see are the 6 packs when I look in the mirror. But Joe, it seems like you right now you're kind of stuck there in the middle. Your Bitcoin price is kind of stagnant. It seems like your opinion is also stagnant. At what point, either up or down, does Bitcoin have to hit for the action to start getting frenzy again, and for the real action to hit the table?
Oh, here, by the way, we just got about a 50 pack sold. Let's see, yeah, that was about a 50 pack sold. So it looks like sellers are trying to take this. Now, keep in mind, I'm all cannons long right now. I'm pretty sure that this is a consolidation phase and that we're going mostly up from here. I don't encourage people to go all in and go, 100x. But this is a good place to start going, 1, 2x, 3x longs, build some certainty in that position, and then stack on top of it. Stack some leverage or add some capital, whatever you want to do. But currently I'm all cannons long. Now, what's going to really kick things off? What's going to cause me to shut down all my longs or add to them? At what point will I get extremely bullish or extremely bearish? I'm going to say I'll get more bearish if we. I don't want to see the number 6, leading the Bitcoin price. If we get back down into 6,000s, I'm not very confident that we're going to be able to even a bounce is going to bring us too high into the 7Ks again. Say we hit 68.50 or something. That's probably my target. I know you would put 6,999 as your short, your stop short entry, and once you got there, you would be the fortune maker. But I'm thinking 68.50 and lower. We definitely create a new low. 6850 and lower, we might bounce to 7200 and create a new low. But if we get to 8200, then I think that, especially us consolidating the way that we are, I think that we have a lot of support going up into that 8200 to put us back into five-figure territory, and again, walk us right into the halvening with these really sound numbers. Hopefully, I mean, I'm the opposite of all those fudsters out there. I personally want to see a halvening that has the or halving, as some people call it. Some people have sensitive ears. I like the word halvening. I want to believe that this could be the first halvening with an all-time high, and right now we're almost 50% down from the all-time high. If we can climb to 10K in the next 2 months, then I can absolutely see a rise in the next 3 to make it into a new all-time high prior to the halving.
Joe, I hope you're right, because personally, I don't get out of bed for anything less than 5 figures. Now, taking a look at the altcoins, right now looking at the charts, it seems that Ethereum is the only of the top altcoins in the green today. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, Ethereum, let's take a look. While we're on Bcash, it looks like they're finding some resistance at the 50 moving average there, so no surprise. Let's see how that reacts. And actually, Ethereum looks pretty similar, only that there's a bit more distance between the 50 and the price. Let's see, RSI is looking pretty neutral right now. Sequential isn't giving us much. Green 2 trading above a green 1, but it pulled back on this green 3. I can't say that I'm really too optimistic here. It's like I'm optimistic about Bitcoin, and I know normally one ship doesn't sail without the other when it comes to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, maybe a handful of others. But I feel like Ethereum has some room to move down. If I wanted to get really, like, say I was an ETH head and I needed to create some bull porn here, I would probably look at this. We have 2 points of contact here, a pretty clear horizontal resistance area. So this is kind of what I'd be looking at. So at a minimum, we have a number of days of consolidating and reaching the apex of this triangle before making a decision. Now, this is just a very crude drawing and not nearly enough information that I would like to have if I was making a prediction. The information I would like to have is something much more like this over here, where we have a lot of data, numerous points of contact. I mean, even this right here could be something. So, this is a more well-defined, I think, descending triangle. Down here, this is me just trying to find a situation that could, benefit. Just trying to find something to grip onto, But right now, I would say, judging by the fact that we're kind of floating in outer space, we do have more local support, because I typically use that phrase with XRP. But we have more local support in this area dating back to March 2019, which is only 9 months ago. So I think Ethereum might have a little bit more fight in it, but still, I really see this thing coming back down a bit further, and I think we're going to come back down into the double digits. So be wary of your F bags.
Well,
Brian Armstrong.
Little fun fact: Ethereum was the first digital asset that I actually purchased while working here at BLOCKTV, and since I've sold off all my holdings. Now, taking us to XRP, your favorite digital asset. Joe, take it away.
Well, let's see. At a glance, it's pretty similar. I mean, everything seems to have taken, I just want to run back. Everything seems to have taken these very cautious steps up, and we have a little pullback. Even Bitcoin US dollar on the daily, we've taken these very cautious steps up, and we're having a tiny pullback. So it's kind of funny. The market is kind of in like a synchronized, acting in a synchronized fashion. So a little pullback, it's nothing to be worried about. We're still, with XRP in particular, because it does act differently, in the bottom half of this descending channel. So I'm not going to expect us to break into the 20 cent region easily. We right now are overhead. Well, I guess it's not too hard. Grinding sideways puts us into 20K. I don't think it's going to happen easily, though. I think we have a lot of stacked sellers. In fact, here's the depth chart right here. We have a massive wall of sells at 19,470. I mean, I don't like dividing pennies into that small of units, but here you can see in in the depth chart, you can see that there is a wall of buyers over here, a wall of sellers over here. We have a couple more big steps up. So at just under 20 cents, 19.7, we have another sell wall. I mean, this looks pretty significant. I think there are a lot of sellers stacking the book. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because, you know, that could be stupid money, right? And it's fine if there's sellers stacking the book, but what we need are market buyers and market sellers. And right now it seems like the market's cooled off. So it's just kind of a timeout. It's almost like a ceasefire. Maybe the holidays have a lot more people on vacation away from their computer, not trading, etc. Maybe even gifting, you know, putting it in some sort of wallet and gifting it out, so that it's not really going from person to exchange for cash. It's more going from person to person for hodling purposes. So this market is a little dry right now. That's fine. I'm okay with the consolidation in this area. Even if Bitcoin does well and you know, and XRP happens to do well, I'm not gonna, you know, cry over spilled milk there.
Now, yesterday we spoke a little bit about Bitcoin Cash, and it's flirting with its next 100 range. What's it at right now?
Bitcoin Cash USD, as reported by Coinbase, we're sitting at 209. Now, let's see here. We didn't really do anything too crazy. I'm paying attention to the RSI here. We're just kind of running neutral. We did get a full retrace on the pump. It was a slow, steady grind of a retrace, similar to what happened in Bitcoin's October 25th. But we had a full retrace, a new low right here, a new low, a new low, and a new low. I mean, this thing's just been low after low. Definitely going to meet resistance at the 50-day moving average. And I'd be curious to see, what do we do? Do we this is what I'm kind of looking to see if it happens, because I don't really like to invalidate a trend until a number of days. And part of me has a feeling that we could pop up a little bit and then submerge again. So I'm actually not very bullish on Bitcoin Cash. I just don't really see it. In fact, if anything, I kind of see one big descending situation here. This isn't very clean, but there's a couple horizontal areas that have been broken, and now we're down here. So I mean, this pretty much has like descending triangle after descending triangle breakdown. I mean, this is a little tight. This isn't the cleanest, but crypto isn't really giving me the cleanest structures here. But it's basically the trend is most certainly down. We're finding a new low after low, and I wouldn't be too excited if I was a Bcash bag holder, Btrash bag holder. There's not really much to grip onto. Similar to Ethereum in that we're kind of floating in outer space. Is this the hard fork? Huh, there must have been some downtime. I think the hard fork was November 14th or 15th, I should say. So anyways, yeah, Bitcoin Cash is kind of in a what I would say is it's in a free fall, very similar to XRP, very similar to Ethereum, with its most local support being earlier this year. So in my eyes, maybe a little more to rely on than XRP, which doesn't have any support until all the way back to December a year ago, maybe a little bit plus now. So again, I think crypto markets, the memory is a little more forgetful, let's say. So I would say let's focus on the local time scale. And right now the local time scale puts us at a low of $75. Above that, where we did find some nice support, was the 120s. So this would kind of be my area. If we were to break down, this would be my area that I would expect to find support in the $120 range, 130.
All right, well, you know, Joe, BCH might be struggling to find support, but you always have my support yourself, because we do love you here at Block TV. Joe says, thank you so much for joining us and filling us in on where the crypto market is sitting at right now. And for those at home, if you want more on cryptocurrency and blockchain news, make sure to check us out at blocktv.com.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.